Did you know that felt is the mother of all fabric? Felt comes in all kinds of fibers. Here is 100% wool. This one is a rayon wool combination. And this is 100% recycled post-consumer plastic bottles. Today, felt is being used in clothing, like the vest that I'm wearing, like this darling child's jacket, or this magazine cover and this jacket. People are liking felt because they can make their own by washing a wool fabric. It's easy to sew. It works beautifully in loose-fitting garments. It doesn't stretch, and the edges don't need to be finished. I'm going to show you how to make a charming little jewelry bag. Before we start, we need to make a pattern. This project will take 3 circles. One is 8 inches, one is 12 inches, and one is 3 inches. Now, cut the 12 and 8 inch patterns out of pattern paper. Cut the 3-inch circle out of cardboard, like the back of a legal pad. Then, take your 8-inch circle and fold it in half, fold it in quarters, and in half again so that you have 8 sections. Then we're going to cut each one of these corners in a little slant. This way you have 8 notches going around the circle. Use your circle patterns to cut out felt circles of the 2 larger pattern pieces. And then fold your 12-inch diameter pattern into quarters. Then take the 3-inch circle, and you need to find the center on that. And this is very easy with a mat board because I've got 1-inch squares here, and I know that half of 3 is 1.5, so I can mark at 1.5 inches right in the middle in both directions. Draw a little dash, and that'll give you the center of your circle. Now we're going to stack all of our layers. Start with your large circle first, then put your quarter pattern on top of it so that it gives you the exact center point. Then take your cardboard piece and slide it right under so the point is right on the center point of the cardboard. Now you can move out your pattern piece and bring in the small circle and just sort of eyeball that, holding that center cardboard piece all the time so that it doesn't move. You need 2 inches all the way around. And then pin close to the cardboard but not through it. Then it only takes 5 or 6 pins to hold everything in place. When that's done, bring back the pattern piece with the notches on it. Put a pin pointed toward each notch. Now we go to the sewing machine. For this project, replace your standard presser foot with the zipper foot, which enables you to sew close to an edge on either side of the foot. Pull the top and the bobbin threads to the back and give yourself about 8 inches of thread before you insert your fabric and lower your presser foot. You'll be able to feel the cardboard disc, and you'll want the left side of the presser foot to be snug right up to that edge. To follow the edge, hold the threads to the back when you start sewing so you won't get an unsightly loop of threads on the back during the first couple of stitches, and then you can drop them. Take a half dozen or so stitches and lower your needle. Lift the presser foot and pivot the fabric until the disc snugs up to the foot again. Instead of pushing your fabric straight, you need to turn the fabric with your hand as you're sewing, using this kind of action as you sew. Remember to always stop with the needle down and take out the pins as you come to them. When you get to the end, clip the beginning thread tail and sew over the original stitches, and remove your fabric. For the next part of the sewing, sew the spokes that make the pockets of the bag. That's where these pins come in. Place a ruler across your circle from pin to pin and then follow its edge to get nice even spokes from one side to the other. Insert your fabric, aligning the zipper foot with the ruler edge, and start stitching while holding the thread tails. Next, hit the reverse button and back tack up to the edge of the pocket circle, and then continue stitching forward to the cardboard circle and back tack again. Then lift the presser foot, push the whole unit to the back of the machine until you're on the other side of the cardboard circle. Lower your presser foot a short distance past the stitching line and start sewing in reverse to back up to it. Resume forward stitching to the pin and back tack to the pocket edge. Now we've stitched 2 spokes. Trim your threads on both sides of the fabric and repeat around the circle for each spoke. This is what the circle looks like when all the spokes are stitched. The next thing we're going to do is sew on these little rings to the end of each of the spokes. These are 12mm split rings that you can buy either at your hobby store or your fabric store. I've put a darning foot on the machine. The reason is that it's open and it will enable me to see what I'm doing as we sew the ring on. Any foot with an open toe makes this job easier. The standard presser foot will also work as long as it has a zigzag opening here, but you can't see what you're doing as easily. Lower the feed dogs on your machine. If your machine doesn't have a feature for doing this, then you can poke a small hole in a 3x5 card, center the hole under your needle, and tape it over the feed dogs to make them inactive. Place a ring on the end of a spoke, set your machine for a zigzag stitch, and lower your presser foot so it holds the ring down. Hand crank through a stitch to check your stitch width to be sure you're not going to hit metal. Then, with the foot pedal, take a few stitches, lift your presser foot, and remove the piece. You've attached a nice solid ring. Go around the circle and attach a ring in the same manner to each spoke. You can use this same technique to sew on a button. Here's the circle with all the rings attached, and we're through with the sewing machine. Now we need to string the bag. Start stringing around the circle through the rings. Then start on the opposite side and run the second chain or cord through in the opposite direction in the same manner, so it comes out directly opposite. When you pull the chain tails, it forms your bag. The pouches are on the inside. You'll need to sort it out and fuss with it a little until everything looks perfect. To finish the chain ends, I attached some charms I bought at the craft store. Just spread the ring apart and hook it through a chain link and twist the ring back together until the ends match. That's all there is to it. Now you know how to make these charming little felt jewelry bags. You can make one for everybody you know. Enjoy!